speak up. Governor Sarah Palin, she is the governor of Alaska. She's close enough to the people to actually hear the people and then respond to them. She is suing the federal government over the threatened species status of polar bears because it inhibits the state's ability to search for oil. The governor joins me now. First of all, I have to ask you, how is Trig, your newborn?
Oh, Trig is doing wonderfully. Thank you so much for asking. He's an awesome bundle of joy. Thank you, Glenn.
I have to tell you, Governor, I was so impressed with the way your child was born with Down syndrome, and I was just so impressed with the way you and your husband dealt with that and the message you sent. So thank you for that as a father of a child with special needs. Tell me about the polar bear lawsuit.
Well, we are suing the federal government, recognizing that the Endangered Species Act is not a place to kind of mess around with in terms of listing as threatened a species that right now is very, very healthy. In fact, the number of polar bear has risen dramatically in the last 30 years. Our fear being that extreme environmentalists will use this tool, the ESA, to eventually just curtail or halt North Slope production of very rich resources that America needs. You know, we need that oil, we need that gas. I'm glad you're fired up about it, Glenn, and I appreciated your monologue there.
I'm so sick of it, Governor. And you know what? Is it true that Anwar, where they want to drill, it is 700 miles away from the closest tree? Is that true?
Well, what's true about Anwar is that it's about a 2,000-acre plot also, a lot of land that is, the footprint is smaller than LAX, for instance, that plot of land that needs to be explored. And Anwar it's ripe for exploration. There are so many other parts of Alaska's plain also that, again, are very, very rich in reserves. And if we want to become more energy independent, it makes sense, obviously, to be looking domestically. Safe, clean, domestic supplies of energy that Alaska has and that we're ready and willing and able to contribute to the rest of the U.S. It infuriates us also that the lockup of Anwar, but other areas also, is leading to that lack of independence and lack of energy security that we need in America.
You know, they are suing now in the state of Massachusetts because what they want to do is they want to build windmills off the coast of Nantucket. And the federal government won't let them do it. And they're suing because they say the state has a right to build these windmills if they want to do it. If they win, can you use that legislation to say, you know what, I don't care what you say, Washington, we're drilling, it's our oil?
It is our oil. It is federal land, though, so we need Congress to see the light and quit relying on unstable and these foreign regimes that aren't real friendly to America, asking them to increase production for America's security needs and for our energy needs to be met. That's ridiculous. It's nonsensical. Again, when your sister state, the 49th state in our union, Alaska, up here, we have those resources and they're ready to be tapped.
What does the average Alaskan say about this?
The average Alaskan says, again, we recognize these reserves being ready to be tapped, and we are ready to contribute more to the U.S. There's really hungry markets here in Alaska, too, though. We're paying outrageous prices for our oil and our heating fuel.
Aren't you paying the most in the country? I mean, you're paying over $4 a gallon in Alaska.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous? We are. And Alaskans, collectively, we own these resources underground. We want them to be tapped. And again, we're ready to contribute more to the U.S. in terms of resources that can lead to a safer nation. And I say this, you know, while our nation is at war, while we're fighting in some sense over energy supplies, it's ridiculous. We do have the resources here.
Have you considered, or have you been talked to, or anybody said anything about you running with John McCain?
There's a lot of rumor and speculation about, not just me, though, a lot of governors who may be tapped, at least for consideration. That rumor is out there.
Yep. Well, would you go to, well, I hate to ask you this, would you go to that den of vipers in Washington if you were asked?
You know, if I had to make such a decision today, it would be no. There's a lot that Alaska should be doing to contribute more to the U.S., and I think that I can help do that as governor of the state, staying here.
You know, I have to, I don't mean to be rude, because, I mean, look, I grew up in Washington State. Alaska is spectacular in its beauty. My father worked up in Alaska for a while they were building the pipeline and everything else. But I have to tell you something. We brought Alaska into the Union, if I'm not mistaken, with an eye to the future of its reserves. Why would we not tap the Alaskan reserves right now?
That is exactly why we became a state. 50 years ago, we struck deals with the federal government saying that we wanted to be let into the union and we'd be as self-sufficient as possible. We'd do that by developing our God-given resources up there, and we would contribute to the federal government. And now, though, we're not allowed to do that. So the federal government and again, the extreme environmentalists are not allowing us to uphold our end of the bargain when we became a state. We are so rich with millions and millions and millions of barrels of oil still sitting underground, trillions and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas, clean, stable supply that's not allowed to be tapped.
Governor, thanks a lot.